In this video, I want to have a look at adding a simple autoresponder to an email address. This is the type of autoresponder you would use if you're going away on holiday and you want people to be notified if they try to send you an email and you're away on holiday and you can't answer it. You want them to get an automated response saying, I'm away on holiday until such and such a date and I'll get to you as soon as I can. It's also the type of autoresponder you might want to use if you have a no reply email address. In other words, an email address that is not monitored, and you can attach an autoresponder to it to tell people if they try to send you an email to that address, sorry, but this email address isn't monitored. Please use our contact email address or whatever it is you want to say. So to begin with, we are in cPanel and we want to scroll down to the email section where you'll see a link to autoresponders. This is the screen you'll end up on. At the top, we've got a drop-down box here. If you've got lots of autoresponders set up, then you can manage them by selecting the domain that you want to work on, and then that will filter these results here. We don't have any set up, so let's just click on Add Autoresponder. And at the top here, we've got some variables we can use in our response. So we can have %subject, %, from, and %email, if you want to use those in your body description down here, so you could include the subject of the email that's come to you. The first thing, character set, I'm not touching that, that's been chosen for us. The next one is interval, and basically this is a way that you can stop a second and third email being sent to somebody for a specified length of time. So let's suppose somebody emails you and then a few minutes later they email you again, but the first email has had the autoresponder send the message back to them saying, I'm not at home now. If they sent you 5 emails within the space of 5 minutes without checking their own email, then they would get 5 autoresponder messages back saying, I'm sorry, I'm not here. So what you can do is you can set a time interval and say, look, if somebody writes to me again within 24 hours of their first email, then don't send them a second response for 24 hours. So there's Bob at home, sends me an email, my autoresponder kicks in, sends him an email back. He then doesn't see that, he writes to me again within 10 minutes or so. My autoresponder then ignores that because it's within the 24-hour period. So it's a good way of reducing the amount of emails you send somebody, which can look a little bit unprofessional. In this area here, we want to include the email address that we are sending from, or the email address that we want the autoresponder to be working on. So we have my email address there. The from, that should be the user that is in the from field, and then the subject, you can enter your own subject here, vacation response, or what I could also do is put the subject in there, and then that will put the subject that the person had sent to me in their email, and then I would write the email. Okay, there's the email that will be sent to them. And then it says, when do you want to start this? Well, if you're going away on holiday today, you could say start it immediately. Otherwise, you can do a custom selection and say, right, I want to have this autoresponder running from the 1st of August. And then when does it stop? Is this autoresponder going to run indefinitely? So for the rest of eternity, people are going to get this response when they send an email? No, you want it to stop when you get back off holiday. So let's say you're going for 2 weeks, coming back on the 14th. Therefore, we'll have it running until the 14th or 15th, just to give you time to get settled back in. And then you can click on create. And then that autoresponder now will run from the specified times. So if I just go back in and show you, it will run from the specified times from the 1st of August to the 14th of August. And if anybody emails me on this email address, andy@harlan.co.uk, they will be sent this message if it's between the 1st of August and the 14th of August. So that's how you can set up an easy autoresponder on your web host to auto reply to people when you're not going to be around to reply to your emails. For you to be able to create autoresponders like email courses and newsletters and things like that on your website, you're going to need to use some sort of autoresponder script. Whether that's a script that you host or whether it's a script hosted by one of the services we're going to have a quick look at, that's up to you. If you go over to Google and you search for autoresponder script, you'll find lots of different autoresponder scripts, even some free ones. These scripts will be set up on your domain, on your web host, and therefore all emails that you send out will be sent from your web host. If your web host gets a lot of spam complaints from people you're sending these emails to, then your web host may actually close you down. So you do have to be really, really careful if you're going to host the scripts yourself. A far safer way of doing it is to use one of the services that's available. The one that I personally use is Aweber, but as you can see down here, it's not cheap, especially if you're just starting out. There is one called MailChimp, which is free to begin with. If we have a look down here, all the basics for business just when you're just getting started. If we scroll down, we can have a look that will give you up to 2,000 contacts, and that's a good number. So it's a good thing to get started for free, setting this up on your website, starting to collect email addresses. The free account gives you one audiences. Now, basically, think of audiences as a list. So you build a list that you're going to send emails to, whether it's in an autoresponder or whether it's a newsletter style thing where you can send them an email whenever you like. That is one list that you can set up. The paid options in MailChimp, this one from $9.99 a month, will give you 3 lists that you can build and 50,000 subscribers. That's still really, really economical. There are limitations obviously on the free and the what do they call this one, the essentials account. So do go down the table and have a look, but by all means start for free. I'm not going to go in and use MailChimp. I don't use MailChimp, so I can't teach you how to use it, and there's no point me going in and teaching you how to use Aweber because most of you aren't going to use that. So what I want to do is just cover the basics of the services, and let's have a look at how they all work, and then you can apply these principles to whichever service you are going to be using. So autoresponders all work this way. There's a form that you can embed into your web page that asks for a name and an email address, and when somebody fills in the name and email address and clicks the submit button, that sends an email to your autoresponder and adds that person to your list. However, the safe way of doing this is to use something called double opt-in. What that means is that your autoresponder, before they add this person to the list, will send them an email saying, are you sure you want to subscribe to this list? That stops other people from putting in their enemies' names and email addresses to try and sign them up for stuff, because in order to be added to the list, the person has to double opt in. In other words, click a link in an email that the autoresponder sends them to make sure they really want to be added to the list. And only then, when they click on that link, will they be added to the list and start receiving your emails. So whatever service you are using, you're going to have the ability to generate a form that can be embedded onto a web page. The way it normally works is you set up your audience or you set up your list, create your list, and then once you've created the list, then the service will ask you, do you want to create the form to embed into your web page that will subscribe people to this list, and they will give you the HTML code or a script of some sort that you can then embed into your web page. Once that person has been added to your list, you are then free to email them whenever you want if it's a newsletter, if that's what they've signed up for. The alternative is an autoresponder where they will get a message on, let's say, day 0, and then 3 days later they'll get another message, then a couple of days later they'll get another message, and then a couple of days later they'll get another message. And this is how autoresponders work. You set it up once, you define the content of each of those emails, you define the interval when they're sent, and then when somebody signs up, they will automatically get it on that schedule. But as we suggested earlier in this course, you can combine the two, and you can have a form on your site that is linked to an autoresponder. People are added to your list. Once they're added, they get sent this series of emails on day 0, day 3, day 5, and day 7. But you also have the option to email them whenever you want, because you have their email and you have permission to contact them. Obviously, when they sign up for something, you need to tell them exactly what they're signing up for. What I tend to do in this situation is say, it's a form, sign up for my newsletter list, and as an added bonus, I'll send you my 7-day course on using autoresponders or something like that. So they know they're getting an autoresponder course, they know they're signing up for the newsletter, and everybody's happy. So those are the types of autoresponders you can set up on your site. Aweber does a great job. It's really easy to use, but it's quite expensive. MailChimp, I haven't used, but I know a lot of people that do use it. It's cheaper and it's a great option to get started. So head on over to MailChimp is my advice. Sign up for a free account and start playing around with it and see what you can build and how you can integrate those into your website.